In this video, I'll show how to blow out your sprinkler system by yourself. You can save hundreds of dollars by doing this yourself. The guys that came by here wanted $350 to blow out the sprinklers, so I said no, I can buy my own compressor for less than that and do it myself. So that's what I'm doing. So first thing is open up where you have the where you can turn off the water from the city's water supply. And so I have two boxes. My turn-off valve is here, and let me zoom in a little bit. You can see it better. Okay, yeah. So here's where I turn off the water. And so I will take this tool. I'll put a link to if you need to get one of these. And you turn it clockwise, righty-tighty. And that is it. That's turned off. Now that I have the water turned off, I'll go to this other box. And in here is where I have the filter and then the connector where I will be blowing air. So I blow air into this valve. See if I can zoom in. Okay, it's a little hard to see because it's in the dark there, but you can see that pretty good. Okay, so now what I do, well, first of all, this is the tool that I got. I'll put a link to this. This is what I connect my air compressor to this end, and I connect this here, and then I blow the air through the system. Now I've already relieved the pressure from, I turned on one of the sprinkler lines to relieve some pressure. Also, I can open this up and you can see that there's no more water pressure in there. And so I'm going to open this up, and here I have a 500 micron, 0.5 millimeter filter. Take these gloves off. And so this filter is very, very dirty. So I'm going to be cleaning this out. You can see it's got a lot of dirt that's accumulated this year. And there's a little dirt inside there as well. Okay, so I'm taking that filter out. Make sure you remember to put this back in. Don't forget that, or next year you won't have any kind of a filter for the water. Up. Don't over tighten that or you'll break the plastic. I'm just going to tighten this valve. It's a little tricky to connect. It's wedged in there. Oh, and that's the other thing, is this does not turn in the end. There we go. I'm actually going to open this up. Now can easily connect this. And again, just hand tighten this so you don't break the plastic. Again, this should be open, so going with the air or water. And so when it's 90 degrees, that means it's closed. So I want this open so the air can go through. This is the compressor that I got last year. It has enough power to blow the air out of my sprinklers. The one I had before was smaller and didn't have enough power to blow the air out in all of the systems. So this one, it's a 200 psi, 4.5 gallon, 5.1 SCFM at 90 psi. So the SCFM, this is important to get enough push through to actually blow the water out of all the lines. The one that I had before had a much smaller SCFM. It's important to not allow more than 75 psi through to the sprinklers. If you go more than 75, you risk blowing off the heads. Also, I can allow more air inside the compressor. I just want to restrict the outlet to 75 so I don't put too much air through and cause damage to the sprinkler system. The next step is to turn on the sprinklers in one zone. You can do that through like an app on your phone, through the controller in the garage or wherever it is, or if you know how to manually turn it on in a box outside, you can do that too. So you just turn on one location, and then now I have my air compressor connected up to the sprinkler line. And so now what I want to do is allow the air to go through, and then the line that I have turned on, the water should blow out of the sprinklers in that line. Now that I've started sending air through the first zone, I walk around the back to see what it looks like. If you look in the bottom right corner, you can see the water starting to come out of that sprinkler and the other sprinklers in the back. After most of the water starts coming out, you'll start to hear air coming out of the sprinkler. I usually will keep it on for a while until I can see that there's no more water coming out, but this can take a few minutes. Also, sometimes air compressors, you'll have to, depending on the power, you may have to attempt this a few times and let it recharge, get more pressure, and then try it again. At this point, I can see there's very little water, if any, coming out. I can just hear the air rushing out, and so this zone is done. I move to the next zone, and as I start the pressure through, you'll see the sprinkler pops up and gets the water out of the lines. And each zone may have a different amount of water in it. And so, some of my zones, they were really quick to get all the water out. And other zones, it took more time to get all the water out. And here's another attempt on this one. There is still some water that's coming out, but I'm also starting to get more air coming out. So this line's getting pretty close. I don't see any more water coming out. I can just hear the air rushing out. So now I move to another zone. Depending on how many zones you have, this may take some time. If you've got like 10 different zones and you're spending a few minutes at each zone. The most important thing is that you let it run to get out all of the water until you can mostly just hear the air rushing out and no more water. And that way you'll know that there's no water sitting in the lines that can break in the winter if it gets below zero where you live. Now that I've blown the air out of every zone of my sprinklers, now all I need to do is disconnect this hose and then put that filter back in, and that's it. It's ready for the winter and until next year. So I'll disconnect hose. I also want to, let me zoom in. I also want to change this to, right now it's open because it's level with the hose. I want to move this back to closed so that I don't forget next year. Now I removed the air compressor adapter, and with this filter, I cleaned this off. I'm actually probably going to order a new one and put it in because I've cleaned it 2 years in a row and it didn't clean up very nice this year, so probably served its purpose. Okay, so I have that filter back in. That's the sediment filter. The one that I have is 500 micron and a 0.5 millimeter. Okay. And that's it.